Hi guys, I got a really cool project for you today. I'm going to show you how to make a chimenea out of this propane cylinder. Hopefully. I've never done it before. We'll see how it goes. Stay tuned. First thing I'm going to talk about is safety. Make sure before you do anything with your cylinder that you've drained all the propane or whatever gas out of it. On this particular propane cylinder, right here, that little screw, that was the drain on it. So if you use that little screw, if you loosen it up, you'll be able to drain it. It takes quite a while to drain, but it still ended up working out okay. I let it sit overnight too, just to be sure that there was no propane left in it. I don't want to take any chances because I'm going to be cutting this thing open. So make sure you do that first. Once you've ensured that the cylinder is completely empty, now you need to start figuring out what you're going to do for a design. The most popular for this size cylinders, I noticed a lot of people are doing heads out of them, especially Star Wars stuff. So I think I'm going to try to do a Boba Fett head, and we'll see how that turns out. I'm not really a Star Wars nerd, I just think it looks cool. We'll see how it goes from here. So depending on your design, you'll have to start removing pieces of the cylinder. In my case, I'm going to flip it upside down, and I'll have to remove these welds so I can pull this whole ring off. So we'll start there and then keep going. To save time and also make it so I didn't have to patch the hole for the valve, I ended up turning the tank upside down, so you can see there. And then that meant I had to cut this off. So there's 3 welds, cut them off, ground them down. Now it's time to start laying out the pattern. As I was getting ready to cut this, it occurred to me that some of you might not be too familiar with purging flammable gas cylinders, so I'll give you a quick rundown on what you do. Make sure you completely empty the gas out of the cylinder. After that, you're going to want to fill the cylinder full of water. What that's going to do is evacuate the cylinder of any remaining gas, because in the case of propane, it's heavier than air, so all the gas that remains is going to float to the bottom. So when you cut into that, when the sparks hit it, it could potentially ignite. So the water displaces all of it and makes it super safe. So that would be what I would recommend doing before you start cutting into it. Just finished up the first cuts. As you can see, I opened it up quite a bit. The opening in the front is going to be determined by the design you end up going with. I choose Boba Fett, so this is going to be the canvas I'm kind of working with, that open space. This is actually the first time I've ever done anything like this, so I'm kind of just winging it. I think I'm going to make the front pieces swing away, like have a hinge attached on each side so that the fronts of the mask open up so you can load the stove. And I think I'm going to base them on the piece I just cut out. So I'll have to change it quite a bit, but I think this is what I'm going to base everything off of. Got the basic framework cut out for it. As you can see, 2 side pieces, the slots are going to be for these hinges. So that way each side is going to be able to swing open. Obviously you're going to have to do quite a bit more work getting these to look right, plus extending them, shaping them, all that. But this is the base canvas for the whole thing. Okay, this is where your project may differ depending on what you end up using for a design. My design, Boba Fett, I decided to have the sides come open, so I put hinges on both sides. If you did like a Darth Vader or a Stormtrooper, you'd probably want the whole front to flip up because there's not a divide in the design. So I figured this was the best way for mine. As you can see now, I'm just building it up. So I'm extending it down. I'm going to put more pieces. This is all 1/8 inch. Just kind of building up the face design, trying to get it to look more like the actual design. I just stopped filming yesterday because it was starting to get too dark and my shot wasn't coming out very good. So yeah, last night this is what I got done. I got it welded to the base. You can see right here. I just used an old flex plate I had laying around. Ideally probably like a brake drum or a rotor or something would work better, but this is all I had at the time. You can see I got this welded onto, just 1/8 inch steel plate, drilled holes in it. You can kind of see the one there. Every 2 inches, and then just plug welded it. I attached the stack. This is a piece of 3-inch exhaust tubing. They sell it, I think it was like $6 at AutoZone. So you just welded it around. I cut a hole with a hole saw in it first, then just leveled it out and welded it on. These are pretty much still at the same spot. just gonna have to build those up more today. This is where all the detail is gonna come in. So next I'm just gonna be adding pieces to that, trying to make it look more like the actual mask. Okay, so I've just been adding more metal to the front of the mask to make it look more detailed and more like the real thing. So you can see this is the 1/8 inch right here, this piece all the way up through here, 1/8 inch, and this here is 16 gauge. I went a little bit thinner because I had to shape it a little bit, so 1/8 inch would have been too hard, I think, to do that. So unfortunately I don't have my TIG welder hooked up, which is still sitting over there. I gotta run more power to be able to hook that up. So I had to MIG weld it. I really hate MIG welding sheet metal, but right now it's my only option, so I'm doing it. Yeah, I'm just gonna fill all that in and metal finish after, and the front should be pretty much done. To make all those inner pieces I use templates. Make it off of one side and then flip it over, use it for the other. So these are the templates. I just made them out of cereal boxes. You could buy a poster board, but cereal boxes work fine, so that's usually what I use. Without templates, this would have been really hard to do, so definitely learn how to use templates. It'll make your job a lot easier. So here is the finished product. I didn't show a whole lot of the metal forming parts just because depending on your design, this is all going to be different, but this should give you a basis to build pretty much any design of your own. You could still have the sides come open like this. That way you could add wood and everything. For the sides I ended up just using some 2x2 box tubing. I cut it in half, then welded a washer on it to give it that round end piece. That's just a piece of 1/2 inch square stock, piece of 1 by 1 cut at an angle with a 1/8 inch plate on top, just to sort of give it that eyepiece. Looking back, I probably would have made that a fire poker if I thought about it more at the time, but it's actually welded to the side there, so you can't take it off. The smokestack, then this side is just same thing, box tubing. And I welded it on the inside just so I wouldn't have to finish the whole side. But that's pretty much it. As you guys have seen, this video is more of just a general idea on how to go about building something like this. It's not an exact way to build this one here. It's more of a general guideline to build something similar to this. So I just want to give everyone sort of the idea of how to do it so you can come up with your own designs that hopefully will blow this out of the water. So take a look at everything I showed you and do your own thing with it. Tag me in some of your videos, get at me on social media. I want to see pictures of the stuff you guys are going to build too. So if you have any questions or want more detailed pictures of this build, just let me know and I'll get those to you. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.